Flyers drop a major game with no points added against the Flames. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Philly Sports Now, a Philly fan podcast. My name is Zach. With me is Andrew, and we're back to talk all things Philly sports now that the Flyers have dropped the puck, I guess. Dropped the ball is what I'm going for here. And they fucking didn't get a single point from a matchup against a very bad Flames team. The Flames, a three-win team. You have the Flyers 6-5-1, and they were 6-4-1 before this game, this matchup. Yeah, pretty disappointed in seeing this. There's a couple of struggling things with the Flyers. We'll get into some of that, but we did come into here with a pretty positive attitude before this game, so we'll go into some good things. I think we just had our Sixers podcast. Make sure you go look for that and go follow and like if you haven't already. But the takeaway from the Sixers really is that they're a fun team right now. And overall, I do think the Flyers are in a similar spot. Having watched them at least win against the Penguins in a shootout after a tied overtime, after an overtime fight in that match, I must add. Like,
That was
I
funny.
I don't watch, I'm a growing Flyers fan, a growing hockey fan. I have never seen many fights happen in overtime or after. So that was a pretty cool, wild ride to watch. But yeah, a lot's going on with the Flyers. You know, Andrew, I'm going to throw it to you to get your initial thoughts out, and we'll get moving here.
Hey, I mean, you jump out to a really good start, especially on the home ice, and it gets looking very good. You find yourself in the last, or not, sorry, the first wild card spot early on in the season, and then you had a hiccup at home on Saturday evening against the Maple Leafs, and then on Sunday evening, as you already mentioned, with the Flames, and it was just a weird, you know, as we were talking things over beforehand, we were going over, like you said, all the positive things, and then all of a sudden, how good you've been at home, and then you had that bad hiccup on Sunday evening, and I think that one really stuck out to fans this past weekend. But again, I mean,
Especially
obviously,
because I'm going to quick jump in to say, as you pointed out, those two losses were at home, which one of our key takeaways going into this podcast was how well the Flyers have been doing at home.
yeah, no, you won five straight at home before that. You've been taking care of business and adding on some early points early on in the season, and we'll get to it in a little bit, but you've struggled on the road and you haven't won a game on the road, so you've been taking advantage. And again, yeah, so it was not good to see you drop those two at home when you get two of the three games this upcoming week on the road now. So we see what you're able to do. But I think overall, you saw a lot of these new guys or not, you saw some of these new guys coming in from the off season, getting off the hot start, and you're under a new coach this year. So I think all of that kind of helped you get off to the right foot. And now it's, you find that first adversity set of the season, and it's how do you respond to that? Because obviously in an 82 game season, it's not going to be all sunshine the entire season. So you're finding that adversity early on here, and how do you adjust to it? How do you get through it? And we're about to find out, because let's be real, the coach called him out for the effort after that loss on Sunday. He kind of called him out, and so what's the response from the guys going to be?
And now, speaking of the coach, we'll say that one of the things that we have liked is, Briere had some off-season activity, and head coach Rick Tocchet seems to be doing a pretty good job, at least, of, I'd say, really grinding the gears here on the Flyers.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he comes in and, former player. He's been there before on a handful of teams. He was one of the more aggressive players in his days, and he's brought that attitude to this Flyers team. And, he's been great. I mean, honestly, you hear about the entire offseason, how good he's been with the players relationship wise and his coaching style. And again, I think you see it from the players, them buying into it. Even the returning veterans on this team, you see them getting off to a hot start. Sean Couturier has been off to a really good start this year. As a returning veteran, he's your captain coming into the year, and you see that, and just the attitude he's brought. I feel like they're standing up for each other, they're sticking together, and you saw that, as you already mentioned, with that Penguins game at the end of overtime, going into the shootout. And I think what you heard from him, he compared it to being in a wolf pack, and if you're the lone wolf he used, you're not going to survive, and they're going to stick together and be a pack. is basically what he said. And you see it. I mean, every time there's a late hit or, a late something with another team, it's not just one flyer out there. It's the whole team going after the guy. So and that's what I think's cool with this team, seeing that early energy is how much of a team they are. That's why I think they'll get through this one little hiccup.
Yeah, again, similar to how we said about the Sixers, and you mentioned it, over 80 games. It's an early situation here. Flyers another team too that you're not sitting here expecting them to run off and make a cup run this year or anything, but we want to see that improvement. I think that was again a last year thing we saw was lacking. We want to see the year to year improvement, and there was a lot of offseason activity here that got us talking and excited for the Flyers this year, including, like I said, a new head coach hiring that seems to be working out, as well as adding forward Trevor Zegras, who had some big moments in these past few games.
His energy he's bringing to the team, and his big thing in the past was injuries, and that's his big question. He was an early draft pick that just dealt with a lot of injuries, and kind of looking for that new start. I know we've said it in other sports before. When you make that trade, you hope a new scenery helps them, and so far it's working for him. And it's just hoping he can stay healthy. Unfortunately, he's only on a 1 year deal, so if I'm Briere, I'm getting that out of the way now. Lock him up to a contract extension, keep him here for a few years because I think what he's been able to bring to this team on the lines, and he's been able to add a lot. And I think his ability to pass and create scoring opportunities for others, along with his own scoring opportunities, you've already seen that immediate impact. And he had the big game against the Penguins. He had a 2 goal game and an assist and a win, going a long way in that game. And he's one of your big scorers. He's your team points leader. And I think it's again a guy that's going to continue to grow with this team and especially with some of the other guys, and as you can develop, hopefully, because he's another younger guy that you traded for that wasn't working out, and hopefully you compare him with Mitch Mitchkov for a long time.
I will say, from what I've read and seen, Zegras does seem to be a pretty key role, especially this season. So the fact that he's only on a 1 year deal, like I think the Flyers are easily depending on him. So, I would find it hard to believe you don't try to lock him down. I don't know how often that's going to be, but like when in the season that should be expected to happen. But with the amount of dependency happening on him already from this team, I just assume that's got to happen. And he seems happy from the clips I've seen too,
Yeah, he's already
like
shouted
interviews and
out
all.
the fans. I mean, he admitted he's a guy that really feeds off the crowd. So, I mean, the fans' energy is really helping him and going a long way too. So, and he's going to continue to feed off that, and he's going to continue to, build not only with the team, but build with this fan base as well. And I think he can become a fan favorite. And I think the only caution right now, as you might see, is the injury history and bug that's hit him in the past is will make the years on a contract maybe more difficult because you do fear that that one big thing that might hold him back.
I mean,
So
I could see that being a major reason why he wasn't, re-signed right away or anything like that.
yeah,
And, 8 games in or whatever, or sorry, 11, 12 games, like similar situation. Like it's very early. We're seeing good things, but you still want to see good things before you make a financial decision like that. So, not totally surprised. It all makes sense. I just hope it gets done.
exactly, 100%.
Now, another key addition that Briere made, last one on my list here, Dan I messed it up already. Vladar, but new goalie on the scene for the Flyers.
Yeah, it's a position that you've struggled with in the past here. I mean, ever since the Carter Hart stuff went down, you've really struggled with that.
Oh,
And
that's me just missing like that.
uh,
Pre Hart scandal, that was a good time. Like before he turned out to be a piece of shit, that was a good time.
yeah, but no, yeah, so I think it's something you've been searching for. You bring in Vladar, who's had a very good start to the year, and I think in a role that you were planning on platooning coming into the year, I think he's the early guy that's kind of trying to run away with that hot start, and hopefully, he'll earn himself more playing time. And I know he had the big hiccup against the Maple Leafs, giving up, I think it was 4 goals before getting pulled. Maybe he gave up all five, I can't remember exactly, but at least four. And, before that, he's been phenomenal this year. So hopefully, again, that's just a hiccup in the road and he'll get back at it this week. But again, he's obviously goal is an important spot and you need a good goaltender to go far. So I think, hopefully this early success, another guy that can build with this team and then continue to grow and help carry this team farther.
Now, yes, goalie's important. They always say goalie is the quarterback of NHL, right? Um, you did mention him earlier. I do want to get into a little Michkov drama. Drama is going to be a strong word. There's no real drama, especially after name dropping Hart.
Yeah,
Um,
come on, we're not the radio stations.
but I do want to bring up, Michkov is having a slow start to the season, and he's the guy. He's the Flyers guy. Everyone knows him right now, and we need to depend on that. And do you think that has anything to play into it? Is it pressure? Is it just a delayed progress? Like what do we got going on here that Michkov seems to be a little slow this season as opposed to last year?
Yeah, I'm not going to go the pressure road only because to me, well, yes, he's supposed to be the guy. I don't think there's much pressure around this team yet. You know what I mean? Just because, like, as you alluded to earlier, you're not Stanley Cup favorites. It's not like you're
One
expected.
goal? One goal
Well, again, that's not, maybe it is, but in my opinion, you asked, I'm answering.
though?
I think, I,
Okay.
I think again, there's not the pressure of you got to be a top two team in the conference. They're not at that spot yet, as you mentioned. So I think it's continuing to build. Apparently, it was kept under wraps, I guess is a good way to put it, for most of the offseason until near the startup. And I didn't realize he was battling an ankle injury that set him back a little bit, and he was about 2, 3 weeks behind on some of the pre-train or the training camp coming in and stuff like that. So I think now, as the team obviously had Echo. I think you saw some of his better games the last 2 or 3 games. Honestly, I think you're seeing him be quicker, creating those opportunities again. And I think that's going to lead into some of the scoring. And even though he's gotten off this slow start and doesn't have multiple goals, credit to him because shootouts don't count as goals for individual players. So like at times, just because it only goes for that one goal, and if you score three in the shootout, it's only one goal. So he had big shootout moments. So he's still having moments with the team. He had a really nice goal against the Penguins in that shootout. So he's still helping the team when he needs to in certain cases. So I think he's fine. I think it's just getting back into game shape. I think he's been a little slow in terms of hockey shape. And again, as that continues to build, I think you'll see that here the next week or two.
You heard it here, Mitch Cove. Dead. Dead in the water. Dead in the water. Shame. Hate to see it. Let's start some controversies. Andrew, let me quick look up. No, I think, biggest thing right now is why are all our wins at home? Yeah, until we see that first win on the road, I think that's the focus right now, right?
Yeah, I think you're just getting off the slow starts on the road and playing from behind. And I think, you just had some of that goalie platoon stuff early on in the year, and I think now with Vladar taking the time, partially due to the injury to Ersan, I think it's kind of given them a more of a starting goalie role right now, and I think maybe playing with one guy, knowing his spot, and letting the defense settle in, maybe that can help turn the corner here on the road and kind of giving you that guy and the momentum. Hey, similar to what we just talked about on the Sixers side, knowing who's in goal, right? Because each goal is different, and kind of the communication style of it too. So hopefully knowing who's back there right now can help kind of maybe kickstart something on the road, especially here in these next 2 games.
You heard it here first. Anything else, Andrew?
No, I think, again, this team's going to continue to grow together. And I like that the veterans are playing pretty well to start the year. As mentioned earlier, and Owen Tippett got off the hot starts. I think that veteran leadership and quick start for them too shows that they're buying into the coaching change too. Because sometimes that's what you worry about coming in with coaching is how those veterans are going to respond. I think they responded well, in my eyes at least.
All right. Thank you everyone for listening to Philly Sports Now, a Philly fan podcast. You can find us on social media. Links are in the description below. Nailed it. Thank you everyone for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow on Spotify. Support us there. It means a lot. And as always, let's go Flyers. Nailed it. Good night.